Hello, good evening, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. I am Takahashi Rei. I'm from the University of Tokyo, Bangladesh office, and I will be your main facilitator for this session. Can we have the agenda slide? Okay, so welcome everyone. This is Rei Takahashi. I'm from the University of Tokyo, Bangladesh office, and welcome to Study and Work in Japan session 35. So we have prestigious universities, language school joining us with us today. And I truly believe this is a wonderful opportunity for everyone here, because we are, let's say this is more of like you have an admission office of these prestigious universities right in front of your screen. And this is not just a one-way seminar where they will be just presenting. You can actually ask them questions as well. So I would request everyone to stay till the end. And without further ado, I would like to give the floor to Ms. Sakshi Roy, who will be presenting for the University of Tokyo. Thank you.
Thank you for the introduction, Takashi-san. Let me share my screen. I hope my screen is visible to everyone.
Yes.
Yeah, so good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to this webinar, Study and Work in Japan, session 35. My name is Sakshi Roy, and this program is hosted by the University of Tokyo, India office and brought to you by Mech, the Ministry of Education, Culture, Sports, Science, and Technology in Japan. So first of all, before giving you a brief information about our project and our office, I would like to thank all of you. It's a great pleasure for us that you have participated in our webinars. Thank you for supporting our online sessions by attending. And I would like to thank all of our panelists today from prestigious Japanese universities. Thank you very much for contributing into this webinar series. So now let me give you a brief introduction about our office. We are the part of Study in Japan Global Network Project in Southwest Asia by MEXT, and we provide comprehensive information on Japanese universities. We organize education fairs and seminars throughout India to spread awareness about higher education opportunities in Japan. And about our webinars, today we are conducting session 35 of Study and Work in Japan webinar series. And this time, by means of all these sessions, our mission is to introduce Japanese universities to you and to assist you to study and work in Japan. So there will be 3 different Japanese universities representing in each session. National, public, and private universities, and all the universities will be introducing English-based programs and scholarship opportunities that are offered by them. There has been approximately 700 universities in Japan. I must tell you that studying abroad in Japan means you'll further your studies in a well-rounded education system. You'll experience a unique new culture, and you'll have the chance to gain more international perspective. So no doubt you'll be learning from the very best in the world and work in some of the most modern labs with great facilities. And you can also learn Japanese easily if you live in Japan. And some of the universities have preparatory Japanese language courses for international students who are enrolled in their programs. So please scan this QR code to register for our upcoming webinars. It's really a great opportunity for all of you to participate in our webinars. You can directly ask your queries to representatives of each university. However, I know 20 minutes presentation is very short time to understand about the university, but I would like to recommend you to please note down the contact addresses of each university, so that in case if you have further doubts, please feel free to contact them directly later on. And this is the email address of our office. In case if you have any questions, please feel free to contact us. We would be very happy to assist you. Thank you very much for listening to me. Just sit back, relax, and enjoy today's session. And please don't forget to register for our upcoming webinars. I hope it will help you to consider studies in Japan, seizing the opportunity to build an even brighter and more fulfilling future. So thank you very much. Please enjoy today's session.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Ms. Sakshi. And can we have the agenda slide back? Okay, so thank you once again for the wonderful presentation. And now I would like to ask Ms. Kushi Javeri to actually give an insight about what it's like to actually study and work in Japan. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Takahashi, for the introduction. I'll share the screen. I hope you can see my screen.
Yes.
And am I audible?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you so much. So a very good evening to all the panelists and attendees. I'm Kushi Javedi from Kyoto University, and today I'll be talking about the study and work life in Japan. So I'll start by giving a brief introduction about myself. I was raised in Tokyo, and I'm currently pursuing my bachelor's degree in environmental engineering and computer science at Kyoto University. I'm a member of the India-Japan Laboratory, the GIS Laboratory, and the SDPE Laboratory. I am a recipient of the Kyoto University Scholarship, and I've interned at Shibaura Institute of Technology, Hitachi, Tsukuba University. And last year, I was also a member of the Social Innovation Hackathon that was held in collaboration with IIT and NIT. So now we're talking about why should you choose Japan as your destination to pursue further studies. Firstly, Japan is the third largest economy in the world with a population of 126 million and 47 prefectures. It is a member of the G7 summit with other developed countries, including US, UK, Canada, and Germany. Japan ranks 9th in the Global Peace Index and has topped the Safe Cities Index for the third consecutive time. There are a range of international cuisines such as Indian, Italian, and Japanese available to students coming from the overseas. Recently, culturally appropriate food, including halal, vegetarian, and vegan options, are also available. Health policies have proved to be very beneficial to international students, as 70% of the costs are paid by the government. Some of the other advantages include job prospects, affordable tuition fee, and scholarships, which will be explained later in the presentation. So Japanese universities are categorized into national, that are founded by the Japanese government, public, that are led by local public entities, and private, that are based on founders. Japanese universities provide student services and facilities to strengthen the personal and professional growth of students. Some of these services include libraries, research labs, student lounge, gymnasiums, and dormitories, as you can see on the right. There are several universities in Japan that offer English programs at undergraduate, graduate, and doctoral levels. In Japan, undergraduate programs are for 4 years, graduate for 1 or 2, depending on the program you're applying for, and doctoral for 3 to 4 years. The English programs in Japan are well renowned as they provide a range of degrees at an affordable price in comparison to other countries like Canada or the US. So now I will be talking about the fee structure. So the fee structure is undoubtedly an important aspect while applying to universities. I certainly believe that Japan is one of the most affordable countries for students to pursue their further studies, as the tuition fee for international students and domestic students is the same, which is very rare. And as you can infer from the chart, the tuition fee of public universities in the US is 5 times higher than the ones in Japan, while the private universities in the US is 3 times more. The living expenses are similar, but Japan is cheaper than the US in terms of overall education. Financial assistance is also provided by universities or the Japanese government in the form of internal and external scholarships. The Mech Scholarship and the JASO Scholarship are some of the well-known scholarships, as most of the international students have acquired them to reduce their financial burden. We will also be sharing links in the chat box, so please have a look at them as well. I've also listed a couple of basic documents that most of the universities ask when you apply to their English undergraduate programs. For more details, I recommend you to check the application guidelines of the program you wish to enroll in. And in order to apply for the master's or the PhD courses, it is crucial for the applicant to contact the supervisor of the program for admission assistance. So now I would like to elaborate on the job prospects in Japan. The job opportunities in Japan are countless, as several benefits come along once you work for a company here. Graduates from Japanese universities usually tend to work for multinational companies such as Amazon, Google, and Toyota. graduates, especially with a computer background, have a great scope in Japan. The average salary after graduation is minimum 2.5 million yen per year, which is about 17 lakh rupees. And Japan also has the lowest unemployment rate, which is 2.34%. Visa procurement is not a very tedious process, and the student visa can be upgraded to working visa if the student is able to find a job in Japan. Now, as you can see in this chart, the number of dispositions for employment purposes from international students has been escalating over the years. 2019 witnessed double the capacity of international students than in 2017. There has been a 50% increase in the number of students and professors coming from the overseas. This increase is primarily because of the wide job prospects in Japan. Hence, many international students come to Japan with the aim to pursue their further studies and a career. Another very interesting and distinct feature is the opportunity to experience various seasons. Compared to other countries, Japan does not really experience harsh climates. One can enjoy different seasons in the country, like the cherry blossoms in spring, snow in winters, and the foliage in autumn. The diverse weather conditions give students the chance to experience different seasons and travel across the country at any time of the year. Lastly, I'll be talking about my student life in Japan. I can certainly say that my university has opened doors to several opportunities and experiences. I've been able to engage in various activities and have also interacted with students of diverse backgrounds. The picture on the right is from an event called the Showcasing, which is a term used for the baseball rivalry between two prestigious universities, that are Kyoto University and Waseda University. The picture on the upper right is from the hackathon that was held last year in collaboration with IIT and NIT. In the India-Japan laboratory, we conduct social and cultural events so that students from both countries are given the chance to communicate and collaborate. And in the GIS laboratory, we aim to approach different challenges of the environment using computer-based tools. So to sum up, I highly recommend students to consider studying in Japan, as it will certainly be a fruitful experience without having to spend a lot on education. And this brings me to the end of my presentation. I hope I have been able to give students and parents an insight into the study and work life in Japan. I look forward to meeting some of you in Japan very soon. And thank you for your attention.
Thank you so much, Ms. Kishi. Thank you so much for your wonderful presentation. Can we have the
I
agenda
will
slide back?
reshare the agenda slide. Just a second.
Thank you. Okay, so thank you once again for your wonderful insight. And I think every one of us here got an actual, very specific insight about what it's like to study in Japan. So without further ado, I would like to ask the University of Tokyo PEAK. So some of you might be wondering what is University of Tokyo and what is PEAK and why is it combined together, right? We'll be getting the insight and all the details from our respected professors who's joining with us today. But before I pass the floor, I would like to just briefly introduce them. Let's say these are undergraduate degree programs, right? Which is actually entirely in English. And apart from that, the main thing to focus here is that it has been catered and designed specifically for students outside of Japan. So if I have to summarize, you're actually getting top-tier Japanese standard education in the Japanese environment, but you'll be undergoing a course which is catered specifically for you. So without further ado, I would like to pass the floor to Professor Jonathan Woodward and Professor Sanae Suzuki. We'll be presenting the details about the programs. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much for the introduction and good evening. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So yes, very good evening. My name's Jonathan Woodward. I'm a professor in the College and Graduate School of Arts and Sciences at the University of Tokyo. I'm joined by my colleague tonight, Professor Sanae Suzuki as well. And I'll explain what our roles are in the program when I give the presentation, but we'll be able to answer some questions that you have afterwards. And we're also joined by one of our students, so we'll move to that in the Q&A later. So what I want to do is go quite quickly to answer some questions. So first of all, the first question might be, why would you want to study at the University of Tokyo? One of the reasons is that the University of Tokyo is actually the oldest national university in Japan. It was established as Tokyo Imperial University in 1877 and became the modern version in 1947. We're a large university with typically always around 30,000 students and about 10,000 administrative and academic staff. And we're widely acknowledged as being, one of the best universities in the world. In the latest QS World University rankings, the university ranks 24th in the world. And perhaps even more relevant to all of you is the fact that if you look at the rankings based on tuition fee adjustment, the University of Tokyo ranks 3rd in the world, because as you heard, being a national university, the fees that students pay at the university are much lower. And in fact, regardless of whether you're a Japanese student or an international student, a graduate student or an undergraduate student, all students pay the same. So we're a very prestigious university in that sense. We, particularly when it comes to our research, we have 10 Nobel Prize winners from the University of Tokyo. And if you look at something like, these are the statistics from this year of the Nature journals. The Nature journals are some of the highest impact and most important journals in the world. And if you look across all academic institutions worldwide and all journals in terms of the publishing, you'll see that University of Tokyo is ranked 4th in the world, even ahead of University of Oxford and University of Cambridge in the United Kingdom. So there are lots of reasons from an academic perspective to want to study at the University of Tokyo. So then what is PEAK? Well, PEAK stands for Programs in English at Komaba, and Komaba is the name of the campus where all students who study at the University of Tokyo as undergraduates spend their first 2 years. And our program is based at this campus, and you can see some shots here of the campus in different seasons of some of our PEAK students enjoying a lunchtime club that they run with the local Japanese students called TGIF. And actually our campus is located in a lovely green, quiet environment, but is only about 15 minutes walk from the center of downtown Shibuya, really the center of the action in the middle of Tokyo. And you can go on the train in 2 or 3 minutes to there. This is the famous Shibuya Scramble. Okay, so what is PEAK? Well, it's an opportunity for students around the world to come and experience the University of Tokyo's education system, but to do it in English. So you study for 4 years, you get a bachelor's degree from the University of Tokyo, but all your classes, all your exams, everything is in English. It was launched in 2012. And before that, if you wanted to study as an undergraduate in the University of Tokyo, the only way to do it was to take the entrance exams in Japanese and take all your classes in Japanese. And it was incredibly difficult if you weren't a native Japanese speaker. So the program is divided into 2 different courses. One is the International Program on Environmental Sciences, and the other is the International Program on Japan and East Asia. The first of those is an interdisciplinary program focused on the environment. And the second is an interdisciplinary program really focused on Japan. And I'll say a little bit more about them in a moment. The other key feature of this program is that if you want to study at PEAK, you do not need any Japanese language knowledge to join. You can join with 0 Japanese. And our PEAK students, when they join, have a range of Japanese from 0 to near native or even native level Japanese. And you take Japanese language courses as part of your study, and therefore you learn Japanese automatically. You don't need to go to a separate language school. You don't need to study Japanese separately. You learn it as part of the degree program. So the way that the PEAK program is split up is, and all degrees, in fact, at the University of Tokyo for undergraduates are split up, is the first 2 years are known as the junior division, and all students follow a liberal arts curriculum. So you'll take a wide range of courses, everything from the arts through the humanities, social sciences, hard sciences, and mathematics. And which courses you take is partly up to you, and it's partly defined by which of the programs that you join. So for example, if you're doing the environmental sciences program, you have compulsory courses in mathematics and physics and chemistry and so on. And you have a different set of compulsory subjects in the Japan and East Asia program. But otherwise they're the same, and you can choose the programs that you like. The years 3 and 4 are known as the senior division, and this is where you focus on your major. But in both cases, it's still quite interdisciplinary. So you have an option to go very broad or to be more focused depending on your interests. So environmental sciences is really all about training the future leaders to solve, who can solve environmental problems. So you need the science, you need the hard science for the technology to build technological solutions like new kinds of solar panel technology and so forth, right through to how you deal with the social problems. You know, these are human problems, environmental problems, and you need law, you need economics, you need management skills. So all of those are part of this program. In Japan and East Asia, this is also an interdisciplinary program, and it looks at Japan and Japan's position within East Asia and also in the wider world from a historical perspective, from a cultural perspective, from an area studies perspective. You know, it's concerned with international relations, economics and politics of the region, the culture. You'll learn a lot about Japan, but you'll also learn a lot of things that will, you know, make you one of the people who can be an international leader in the future. So those are our two programs. And in both cases, the 4th year of the program, you get to do a full year research project in the laboratory or in the group of your professor of your choice in the program. Okay, so I already mentioned the fact that Peak is very good value in terms of living. And in fact, here's it broken down in more detail. The admission fee is about 1.9 lakh rupees, and then the tuition fees are about 3.65 lakh rupees per year. The accommodation is at this our new Mejirodai International Village. All Peak students are entitled to their accommodation here, and the total bills per month, including fast internet and everything that you need, all your bills, is about 0.56 half a lakh rupees per month. And the typical living expenses are something similar. We asked the students how much they typically spend, and these are the numbers they gave us. But what also makes the program very special is that we have some excellent scholarship opportunities. So many of you may be aware of the Japanese government's Mech scholarship. There are actually two kinds. There's the one that you get through the embassy that you apply for in your own country, and there are special assigned Mech scholarships. And Peak is very lucky to have 5 full Mech scholarships assigned to it per year, which means that 5 Peak students every year will be guaranteed a Japanese government Mech scholarship, which covers all your costs. It covers your airline to and from Japan. It covers the admission fee, the tuition fees, and it gives you living expenses that will cover your housing and also your living expenses per month, so 120,000 yen per month. In addition, the university provides 10 almost identical scholarships called the University of Tokyo Scholarship, which offer all the same benefits with the exception of the airline ticket. And so what that means is 15 students every year on Peak will get a full scholarship. And as Peak is a small program and takes about 30 students per year in total, that means about half of the successful applicants to Peak will receive full scholarships. So this is a really, really unique opportunity to have your tuition paid for. So then if you wanted to apply to Peak, how do you do so? Well, basically, there are 2 stages to the process. The first one is you submit your application with various documents, which I'll talk about in a moment. And at the university, those documents are screened. And based on the documents and based on your exam scores and things, the best students will be offered the chance to move to the second stage. In the second stage, you would have a personal online interview. And also, if you're applying to the environmental sciences program, an online mathematics test. After the second stage of the process, successful applicants are offered the places based on the results of these 2 stages, and that happens in April. So for example, if you wanted to apply to join in October next year, then you would have to apply in November this year, and the process you'd have interviews like February time, and you would get the results, you would get the offer letter in April. It's also worth pointing out that if you apply to the program, you automatically apply for the scholarship. There's no separate application, you just apply to Peak, and when you get your offer, you may be offered a place on the program, you may at the same time also be offered a scholarship. Okay, so to be eligible for Peak, the main thing is, as you heard, this is a program designed for students who are not Japanese, who haven't studied at school in Japanese. So to be eligible, you need at least 9 years of your school education to basically be in a language other than Japanese. Okay, and then the various documents that we require, one of the key things is some kind of test score. And we take standardized test scores and also national test scores. We take different ones. And you either need to submit your predicted or actual. I'll get onto the Indian system in a moment, but we accept a wide range of standardized test scores, including things like International Baccalaureate, A-levels, SAT, and so forth. But we accept national tests from many countries, and in particular for India, we take Class 12 examinations, CBSE, CISE, NIS, and state examination boards. For CBSE, in order to apply for the program, you'd need an average score of at least 93. For the others, at least 94. And we also need the results of your Class 10 examinations and your Class 11 school results as part of the process. When you apply, everything is handled through an online application system. You fill in all the details on that about yourself and your education. There's an essay that we provide. You can go to our website and look at the application documents, which I imagine may be shared in the chat for you. I'm sorry, I've jumped forward there on my slides. And you can read this year's essay, application essay. So you write your essay. We need your school transcripts. We need a certificate from your school saying that you're going to graduate, when you're going to graduate. We need your national exam score, so CBSE, for example. We need, if you've been studying always at school in English, then that's fine. We don't need any test of your English proficiency. If you've not been studying in English, we need you to submit IELTS or TOEFL or Cambridge International Language Proficiency exams. And finally, we need 2 evaluations from your school teachers. Okay, so that's a whistle-stop tour through how you apply to Peak. So then to finish off and to make sure that we've time for some questions, let me just say a little bit about what do our students do. So as I said, Peak was launched in 2012, which meant that our first students graduated in 2016. And we survey all our students when they leave and ask them what they're doing. And here's the ones that we got the responses from. So this is a survey of 104 students who graduated between 2016 and 2020. And what you'll see is that pretty much all of our students, when they graduate, go either straight into a job, or they go on to further study at the master's and PhD level in graduate school. If we look at those 2 different options, for those who go on to graduate school, we have quite a large number that stay in Japan because, for example, at the University of Tokyo, we have sister graduate programs. We have one called the Graduate Program in Environmental Sciences, which is a direct sister program to the Peak Environmental Sciences program. And we have the Global Society program, which is a kind of sister program to JEA. Many students go to graduate school in the US and in the UK, and also in many other countries at the sort of very prestigious universities around the world. The students who go on to work mostly go, and you heard about this earlier, there are many great career opportunities in Japan. Many of them go on to work in Japan, perhaps more than we expected. And some of them go back to their own countries or take on positions in other countries, but a large number of them start their careers, at least, in the Japanese system. So one thing I kind of want to get across to you is the nature of the program. They're both the courses that are offered. You know, you can't come and do Peak in engineering. You can't come and do Peak in physics. You can't come and do Peak in history. Those are the 2 programs that we offer, but they offer you many, many opportunities and much flexibility within them. If you look at what our environmental scientist students go on to do their masters in, you know, we have lots of our students who come and study all these different subjects in environmental science and go on to be computer programmers. They might go and do computer science. They might be going to chemistry departments or biochemistry departments, public health, management, law, environmental policy, environmental engineering. The range is really huge because the program exposes you to things that you're probably not even aware of and gives you the opportunity to study a wide range of different things. And similarly, in the Japan in East Asia program, you can see a wide range of different follow-up studies that people have done at the master's and PhD level, from philosophy to anthropology to sociology to international relations to history to gender studies and so forth. The list is really, really broad. So I'm going to finish up by saying a little bit about what our graduates go on to do. As we said, both of our programs definitely aim at producing people who are capable of being high-performing leaders, right? So whether that's people with multicultural and multilingual understanding of kind of global and political problems that go into consultancy roles or government roles or non-governmental organization roles, we see a lot of our students doing that, you know, going into the consulting, management roles in various different organizations. Also, of course, into the financial sector because of the skills that they developed and the popularity of this for these fields. But also your options are really open. You know, if you're interested in the creative arts, you can go there. You know, we have students going to law, to trade, to public services, to IT, to leisure and sports. So the opportunities that this opens up for you are very broad, and it's very hard when you're probably at the stage that you are now to imagine what kind of careers you could have from this. But what Peak does is open many doors for you in that sense. Okay, so I've talked about 16 minutes ago, 16 or 17 minutes. I'm going to stop there and make sure that we've plenty of time to answer your questions. So thank you very much for listening. So before we answer any questions live, can I also introduce my colleagues? So I'm joined by Professor Suzuki. So Professor Suzuki, could you introduce yourself?
Right. Okay. Thank you very much, Professor Woodward. Hi, everyone. Good afternoon. Good evening, maybe. My name is Sanae Suzuki. I'm the faculty of the PEAK program, offering the course in international relations, and particularly in East Asia. I'm happy to meet you today. Thank you.
Thanks very much. I believe we're joined by one of our students, but I'm not able to find them in the Zoom list. So I don't know the reason for that. But if they appear in the Zoom list, I will have them introduce themselves. So.
Maybe Yuki here, Miss Ito.
Oh yes, I am Yuki from the admissions office. I will be joining you from to answer questions about admissions processes.
Thanks very much. Great. I couldn't see you on there before. Thank you. Okay, so we are happy to answer questions. I know that questions are being asked and answered in the Q&A. I will try my best to look through now. Yeah, one of the questions we saw was about extracurricular activities. So as the question says, please tell me some extracurricular activities for admission in Tokyo Peak. So I think this question is related to the admissions process, and it's certainly the case that we look at your every aspect of your application. So if you have noteworthy things that you do in your extracurricular work at school, for example, we need to know about that and we look at that. So if you've been involved in voluntary work, or if you're doing, all kinds of useful extracurricular activities, we like to hear about those. If the question is slightly different, I think the other thing that's worth saying is that if you come to Peak, your opportunities for extracurricular activities there are enormous. The university has clubs and also what are called circles that allow you to learn and get involved in almost any activity you can think of. I mean, when I joined the university, I saw clubs and circles for things that I'd never even heard of. And I had to go and ask people what they were. So you can, and if there is not a club, you can make one. So the opportunities for you to do interesting things when you're not studying is enormous too. So I think that's some response with regard to that question. I'm just looking now.
Okay, so there was a question for if the university undergraduate program, PEAK, has computer science and engineering for the international students. And there was another question about the computer science. So do you have anything to tell about this?
Yeah, I mean, I can say, as I mentioned in the presentation, we offer 2 programs. You can choose for the environmental sciences program, and you can choose the Japan and East Asia program. But within that, they're very, very broad interdisciplinary programs. So some of the compulsory courses you take during the junior division of environmental sciences are in computer science. It's possible for you in your senior division to do a sub-major in informatics. There are lots of courses about computer modeling and design. So we don't offer a computer science program as such. It's not a computer science degree, but you can learn quite a lot about computer science within the broader program. So if you had absolutely set you want to go to university and study computer science, PEAK is not for you. But if you're interested in computer science, but you're interested and curious about all other things too, about many other things, and about the role of computer science in, helping the world as we move forward as a society, then there are really good options. Then PEAK's probably a really good option. And we have students who, in their 4th year projects, for example, have done a 4th year research project in algorithms, for example, in algorithm design in computer science projects, and then gone on to do master's programs in computer science. So you can get a lot of computer science education, but you will not get a degree in computer science.
Hello, can I help you choose the questions?
Yeah, please do. It's
okay.
Kind of hard
All right.
to.
Okay, thank you. So I think I can answer like 2 or 3 of the questions if I summarize the question into one. There are multiple questions about they're currently doing their honors in their respective local universities, but they actually want to apply for the master's as a PEAK applicant. Is that somehow possible?
So there is, PEAK is an undergraduate program, all right? So there are 2 options here. Of course, you can apply to PEAK and do a 2nd bachelor's degree. That's one thing with PEAK, okay? If you decided you want to study something else and you like the opportunity of coming to Japan, yes, you can apply for PEAK anyway, even if you're already at university. So do it, join and PEAK, that's possible. We're not here, unfortunately, tonight to talk about master's programs, but we do have master's programs. So in environmental sciences, maybe we can share the link to the GPS program. We have the graduate program in environmental sciences. We have the Global Society program, the GSP, but the University of Tokyo also has quite a large number of degree programs, master's and PhD degree programs available in English. So I'm going to ask, maybe I can add the link myself after I finish presenting. We can send you the link. Yeah, so I think someone's posted it actually. There's a link. Oh, great. Okay, yeah. So there's a link that shows you all the University of Tokyo's graduate programs that are in English. But remember, please bear in mind that everything I said about the scholarships and the specifics of PEAK are to the undergraduate program.
Thank you, Professor. So there is one specific question, and I think if I summarize it, so basically Sri Lankan O-levels and advanced levels examination, is it considered as a standardized examinations? And if that person is interested to proceed forward, who should he contact to? Okay, so with regards to particularly in the case of Sri Lankan A-levels, the best thing that you can do is directly contact the admissions office to get information on this, because it's actually a slightly special case. So I think it's probably something we can't discuss in detail now, but the best thing is if, particularly if you, so Ms. Ida is here, you can contact the PEAK admissions office and we can give you more information about that. Thank you so much, Professor. And I think there are multiple questions as well, but I think from the admissions office, they can answer it specifically later on the webinar.
Yeah, okay, that's good. I think a lot of the technical questions we can answer in the chat directly. Yeah, so I'm trying to, what I want to do is pick out things that will be of interest to all students if there are questions like that. Maybe you know, as I'm an environmental sciences professor, that influences my speaking. Maybe I just ask Professor Suzuki to say 1 or 2 words about the Japan in East Asia program, just to give a little bit more information on that.
That'll be great.
Thank you very much, Professor Woodward. Right, okay, the Japan and East Asia, particularly like focusing on the studies about Japan, but not only Japan, but in the whole East Asia as well. And then, including a lot of disciplines, literatures, sociology and international relations and politics and economics, yeah. So, as Professor Woodward said, like, big program really like focus on interdisciplinary studies. So if you're not really, most of the students, from high school, like, you cannot, we do understand you cannot really choose, which, topic you want to pursue in the university. Peak program is a good for you, good choice, one of the good choices for you. And then, but after, like, Professor Woodward said, like, no Japanese required, in the admissions, but after you join, we are expecting all of you to study, Japanese, in order to get more useful information about, Japanese studies, or like, but something about Japan. So all the students, are interested in learning as well, and you can take advantage of the skill, in the future in career. So thank you very much.
Right, thank you very much. How are we? Have any time left, or?
There are multiple questions answered already. There are questions that are being answered as we speak right now.
Okay.
So I think that technical part that will be answered chat with the admission.
Okay, maybe I'll just say one thing to finish that didn't come up anywhere in the discussion so far, and that is one thing that PEAK students do, and an opportunity you have is, if you come to study at University of Tokyo PEAK, you can also choose to, is always of interest to students is, if you do come and you come without a scholarship, even though the fees are not so high in global terms, it's still a lot of money. But many of our students have really excellent opportunities to do part-time jobs. It's allowed on the student visa, and particularly PEAK students can make very good money working as English language tutors, for example. So there are many opportunities for you to earn money as well while you study. So I think those are probably usually the questions we get asked most about. So I will finish with those. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Professor. Okay, so yes, thank you so much for the wonderful presentations and the details provided. So I think all of the students here who are interested, you can actually contact the admissions office, or if you have like a customized personal questions you'd like to ask. And without further ado, I'd like to move on to the next university, which is Yokohama National University. Okay, so before I pass the floor to our professor, I would like to give like a very brief introduction about the Yokohama University. So I'll keep it very brief. So when I hear Yokohama University as a Japanese or half Japanese, one thing comes to mind is it's one of the oldest and most prestigious universities in Japan. So without further ado, Professor.
Okay, thank you very much. Could you see the screen?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, thanks so much. Just a moment. Screen. Just a moment. This is screen shows. Oh. Oh my God. Slide shows. Yes. Is all right?
Yes.
Thank you very much for a very nice brief introductions. I'm so much happy. My name is Koichi Maekawa, professor of the Yokohama National University and belonging to the Urban Innovations and Civil and Architecture Engineerings. Yes. Yeah, Yokohama National University is of course located in the Yokohama City. Yokohama City is the biggest cities next to the Tokyo metropolis, 3.7 million populations, and this city was one of the oldest harbor cities, which opened the the door to the world about 150 years ago. And now we have some good tourist places, nice fashionable areas, etc. Our university is of course located in the Yokohama cities. But here in Yokohama, we have a Yokohama National University, a Yokohama City University, and also another private university with Yokohama. We are the Japanese national universities. And here, this is a campus. And this is the old towns and the harbor city. It is about 3 kilometers away from the city center. So this is just a snapshot of the campus. This is covered by green. Historically speaking, this department of the environments has been a center of the greening of the desert, especially the Sahara Desert. Some professors work so hard to make the desert green, covered by the trees and plants. Therefore, we put some sort of the monument to express our tasks in the past. This is just a snapshot of the buildings, cafeterias, and student center, libraries, etc., etc. I would like to skip these things. I would like to talk on the civil engineering undergraduate programs. We started these English-based programs, and nowadays 33 years have passed. Then we have about 28 faculty members in these programs, and also 200 undergraduates, majority Japanese, and also 160 or 70 graduate programs. Among them, the 85 international students are studying on campus. Therefore, when I talk about the graduate programs, Japanese and international almost similar numbers. So this is all English programs in civil engineering. As a matter of fact, in 1982, University of Tokyo Engineering School and Civil Engineering started the English programs with the Japanese government financial supports. Then this was the first trials of my countries, and our programs so follow the University of Tokyo great ways. And about 7 years later, we started this international English programs based upon the full scholarships from the Japanese government. Then we have 2 years master programs and 3 years doctoral programs. Since our university and program is a small scale, so our focus is really urban issues, city problems, urban issues, including the infrastructures, management, law, economics, and also the environmental controls. Now we have, first of all, I would like to briefly explain the contents of study and research works. We have the 5 groups. One is the bridge and structural engineering issues, and establishing and coastal engineering and hydraulics and water resources, and the geotechnical, geoenvironmental engineering, and transport, urban engineering, and plannings, and concrete construction materials and constructions engineering. So these are really hardware technical issues of the infrastructures to build, manage, and also recycles indeed over the 100 years span length. Bridge and structural engineering, so we have 3 professors, 2 Japanese and 1 internationals. Keywords is a structural, wind, dynamics, steel fractures, earthquake, especially earthquake. It's a big issue, especially for urban areas. Other one is the water resources and coastals. And 2 professors, Japanese and 1 internationals. And the keywords is really coastal engineering, the river and the river mouth. And you understand that this is a issue of the disaster prevention, environmental processes, and integrated modeling and forecasting, etc., etc. And the third is geotechnical things. We have 3 professors, 2 the Japanese and 1 internationals. And they are not treating these constructions of made by the soil foundations and also the ground environments, underground water. These have much to do with the environmental things of urban areas and also disaster prevention things as well. Unfortunately, Japan is located in the very high risk areas of natural disasters, including tsunami and earthquakes and typhoons. But anyway, we are challenging. At the same time, this knowledge can be applied mainly in the past to the Asian areas. And the transportations, also this is programs, sub-programs of transportation plannings and urban engineerings. Keywords is urban regional planning, disaster risk reductions, and housing, and ITS, including some IT technologies to control the transportations. You know that transportations is a really core issues of the one of the core issues of urban problems. And concrete constructions and construction managements related to the structural issues, development of new materials, environmentally friendly, sometimes absorbing the CO2, not emitting the CO2, but absorbing CO2. This is one of the center trying to do that. Well, in Japanese government, we have some, fortunately, Japanese government scholarships for special programs for master and doctor. And we have the two slots. One is a special international programs for urban infrastructure engineering in developing countries. And second one is the international graduate programs for innovations of civil engineering through informations and communication technologies. This ICT-based program started almost 3 years ago, and we are now in the second stage. This one, some international program for urban infrastructures, it started about 34 years ago, and we have almost 3,500 graduates. Among them, about 40% of the graduates are working at the university and research institutes and schools. Professors or some staffs, researchers, and about 30% are working in the public sectors, the techno-art, because civil engineering have so much closer to the issues of the public things. And the rest of the 20-30% are working in the private sectors. Nowadays, we are now open to receive the applications from all over the world. So this is a website here. Every year, we receive about 200 applications. And now, so some full scholarships, including the tuition fees and stipend every month and travel fee, all are covered by the Japanese scholarships. Of course, these are paid by the Japanese taxpayers. Then 11 slots every year is allocated to us. Therefore, this is anyway, competitive things, but we try to manage these things. But not only this funding, we have some funding from the Japan International Cooperation Agency. Abbreviation is JICA scholarships. Every year, some topics is different. Nowadays, Uzbekistan, Bangladesh, Myanmar, and Philippines. These applicants from these countries can apply to this JDS programs together with the Yokohama National University and also the University of Tokyo. And another, there are several slots. And recently we had some IIT Hyderabad scholarships programs receiving a few students from these institutes. And then also we have now running programs funded and supported by the World Bank, the Washington, D.C. of the United States for infrastructure management programs, IMP. This is programs for training the people having the work experiences. This is for master program alone. Some students finish these programs, coming back their own countries, working several years, sometimes they will be back to our university to get the government scholarships to study for doctoral programs indeed. So this is the statistics. We started 1990. At the times, every year just 4 persons. But nowadays, it is a little bit inflating. And in 2020, we have 35 international students. Nowadays, almost 80 international students coming from more than 30 countries, more than 30 countries. Yeah. So activities, class specialized for international students. We have some, some activities, not only the work, the classrooms, the field, and the laboratories, etc., etc. At the same time, our university is so much keen to develop the international cooperations. At this moment, we had some agreement with the Vietnam's, Indonesia, China's, and Thailand, etc. And then lastly, 2 years ago, we visited Bangladesh to have some sort of the collaboration programs with the Bangladesh universities. We are now writing some documentations. So this is the snapshots from the university. This is the entrance gate of the campus. These are the staffs, faculty member. Please understand that we are very small size, but we are so much happy to have excellent students work together. So this is a link of the scholarships available, and also the informations of the university as a whole. Please understand that I introduced some programs of urban innovations and civil engineering with full scholarships and English-based programs. But we have another programs in engineering and also social science, technologies, social science and law, because Yokohama National University is also located in Yokohama. And as I said, our city was the first harbor to open the door to the world. Therefore, in the past 100 years, many international people came to the city. And also some of them established the new banks, a new business as a office of Japan's. Therefore, because of this, we have other strong programs of management, economics, etc. So, okay. At this end, I would like to stop my talk. So it's all right.
Yes, thank you so much, Professor. And we have a lot of questions for Yokohama National University, but most of them are answered already, the chat box. So I will be taking just a few more questions. So requirements for Masters in Transportation Planning Program, I believe has been answered. But would you like to try again, Professor? Requirements for Masters in Transportation Planning Program.
All right. Thank you very much. Requirements to be enrolled in the master programs. First of all, graduation from the undergraduate programs of your home university. Yes, therefore some sort of equivalent diploma, right? It depends upon the university countries and regulations. That anyhow we respect the graduations. And another one is the English proficiency, because this is the first scholarships at the same time English-based. But please understand that we, frankly speaking, we use the Japanese. But anyway, but I believe that the international language in engineering is, yes, a broken English is international language in engineering and science. Therefore, English proficiency is almost the same as the explanation by Professor Woodward. As a matter of fact, I'm a professor emeritus of the University of Tokyo. Therefore, at that times, we had some sort of the common standards. Therefore, the requirement is almost the same. At the same time, University of Tokyo, Yokohama National University are the national university. Therefore, we have to follow the national law of education. So, therefore, so please so consider that this is. But I think selections is based upon the documentations. Yeah. At the same time, we respect some proposals of study because we are in the graduate programs.
Thank you so much, Professor. Thank you so much, Professor, for the detailed explanation. So I'm also looking at some questions regarding to masters in business fields, like masters in business administration. There are business courses available.
Yes, I am not belonging. I do not belong to the business things, but frankly speaking, I am not so much familiar with the requirements. But I think this business school have received international students almost 70 years ago, started, because this is a harbor city, a lot of international peoples. But I think this is based upon the Japanese educations. Yeah. Therefore, the students should have some qualifications of Japanese language. Therefore, please visit the whole university site. You can come to the business schools.
Thank you so much, Professor. So I'm also looking at a few other questions like masters in economics and other fields. But as the professor already mentioned, so he's not from that business school. So if you have any other queries, you can also visit their website. And also you can email them directly if you have any custom questions as well.
And one thing,
Yes.
Some students came to the master programs of the civil engineering, and they study something. After that, they challenge to be a doctoral students of the business school. Yeah, during these 2 years, students, some students could get a very nice Japanese proficiency, and they can attend some entrance examinations. Then they can come to the business schools. Therefore, sometimes our master program can be a stepping stone to another fields. But of course, the master program is also the full scholarships things. Therefore, this type of route is also maybe okay. Yeah, we are now welcome this type of people out there, because in the world, how to say, the lateral linkage is a power of the next generations.
Thank you so much, Professor. I 100% agree with you. And I think it was a wonderful presentations and all of the questions have been answered. But if you have any further questions, you can also put it in the portal. They will be answering in the chat.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Professor.
Thank you very much.
Yes, so thank you once again for the wonderful presentation, Professor Koichi Maekawa. And so I will be moving on to our last university, which is Kyoto Mesa Japanese Language School. So before passing the floor, I would like to just briefly introduce that as the name suggests, it's in Kyoto, which is a beautiful, beautiful place in Japan. And also the language school where you will be, you will involve in a very vibrant environment of international students and also a very local tradition as well in Kyoto region. So without further ado, I'd like to pass the floor. Kyoto Mesa University.
Okay, thank you, Takashi-san. All right, so I just sent the website of our school on the chat box. So if you're interested, please visit our website. Okay, and let me share a PowerPoint. Is it visible?
Yes, it's visible.
Thank you. All right. So first, I would like to clarify that we are not university. We are a Japanese language school. So we are a private institution. And please consider our school kind of a preparation school to eventually enter university. So as its name suggests, our school is located in Kyoto, and Kyoto is one of the most popular tourist destinations in the world. Every year, millions of people visit Kyoto from around the world. and it's also the center of Japanese history, culture, and traditions, because Kyoto had been the capital of Japan for more than 1,000 years. And there are many outstanding centuries-old shrines and temples, many of which are registered as World Heritage. And our school is located in the western part of Kyoto City, and it takes only 15 minutes to downtown. So here, I think many of you are interested in entering university directly from your home country. So here, I would like to briefly introduce the role of Japanese language schools. So to enter university or vocational school in Japan and study in Japanese, not in English, of course, you need a higher level of proficiency in Japanese. And also, in order to work in Japan, you have to be very proficient in Japanese. So that's why Japanese language schools exist. So at Japanese language school, we help you improve your Japanese skills from beginner to advanced, so that you can have enough levels to enter university, vocational school, or to work in Japan. So here, our school has 4 courses: long-term course, short-term course, private lessons, and online lessons. And I will introduce each of them in this session. So first, a long-term course. This is, in this course, students get student visa and come to Japan and study for 1 to 2 years. And there are 2 courses. One is academic course. This is for students who wish to enroll in higher education in Japan after studying at Kyoto Mesa. And the second one is integrated studies course. This is for students who is planning to live in Japan, work in Japan, or work for a Japanese company. Okay. So this is the main difference between the 2 courses. For academic course, the course length is different depending on the time of admission, because in Japan, the school year starts in April. So if you come in April, you have 2 years to study. But if you come in October, for example, you have 1 year and 6 months to study, and you will graduate in March. Then you enter university in April. That's why you have 1 year and 6 months for October intake. And on the other hand, for integrated studies course, this is mainly for finding a job. So whenever you come, you have 2 years to study. And you can see qualifications down this slide. So you must have completed 12 years of education, and you must have the fundamental level of Japanese skills like JLPT N5 or NAT test N5. Okay, so this is nationalities of our students. One of the features of Kyoto Mesa is that students' background is very, very diversified. So usually we have, our students are from more than 25 countries. And students are from like Vietnam, Indonesia, the Philippines, Nepal, Russia, Bangladesh, Kyrgyzstan, China, Turkey, Uzbekistan, etc. And of course, students from India, Sri Lanka. Oh, sorry, and I would like to add one more thing. So this is very good environment to learn Japanese, because so in this environment, Japanese is the only common language among students. So many of them actually cannot speak English. So you have to speak Japanese, which really helps you develop your Japanese proficiency. Okay, and in our school, there are morning classes and afternoon classes, and you will study either. So if you are a morning class student, you come to school at 9 in the morning and study 4 hours until 1 p.m. And after that, you have free time. many of our students go to a part-time job. And if you are an afternoon class student, you come in 2 p.m. and study up to 6 p.m. And in this case, you have free time in the morning. And classes are held 5 days a week from Monday to Friday. So here, I'd like to explain how much it takes to improve your Japanese levels enough to enter university. So this is case 1. So if you come without any knowledge of Japanese, so for elementary level, you need 9 months to study. And after that, pre-intermediate level, it takes 3 months. And after that, 6 months for lower intermediate level and another 6 months for upper intermediate. So if you come without any knowledge of Japanese, it takes 2 years to reach JLPT and 2. And to enter university successfully and afterward to study well in Japanese, you had better have N1 level in Japanese. So what I want to advise in this slide is that if you plan to study at Japanese university in Japanese, I recommend you study Japanese, at least the elementary level Japanese before coming to Japan. So this is case 2. If you study the fundamental level of Japanese before coming to Japan, in this case, you start on pre-intermediate level and you move on from N4, N3, N2 to N1. And in this case, after 1 year and 9 months, you reach N1 level. So in this case, you have great chance to successfully enter university. So from this picture, you can understand that to learn Japanese, it takes certain time. So this is for if you want to study in Japanese at the university. Of course, you must take care of this, but if you also plan to work in Japan after having a degree in English, this is an issue for you, because in many Japanese companies, you are required to speak Japanese. Okay, so now I would like to move on to short-term course. So this is held every year in January, April, July, and October. And students can study Japanese from 2 weeks to more than 1 year. Also, students of various ages study together in each class. And Japanese classes are 4 days a week from Monday to Thursday. And Friday is for extracurricular activities. Okay, and some of you may wonder the difference between the long-term course and the short-term course. So to enroll in the long-term course, you must have a student visa. So to obtain a student visa, you must apply to the Japanese Immigration Authority for granting visa. And for this short-term course, this is for various types of, like for Japanese, like a resident in Japan, or if you study at the university but want to learn Japanese, this short-term course is for you. I will explain some examples later. Okay, so here I'd like to introduce career of Kyoto Mesa student. First, he's Robert Austin-san. He's from America, and he came to Kyoto Mesa in 2018. So he studied for 2 years. And after that, he successfully entered at Kyoto Seika University. So he's now a college student. And this is the second person. He's Anuch-san from Thailand. So he came to Kyoto Mesa in 2017 and studied Japanese for 1 year and 9 months. And after that, he found a job in Japan as overseas sales representative at auto parts manufacturer in Okayama Prefecture. So he's working. So this is also what our school offers. If you already have degree but want to work in Japan, you have to learn Japanese. So in that case, we can help you. So if you come to our school, you can learn Japanese and improve your Japanese skills enough to work in Japan. Okay, so here, I would like to introduce various purposes of our students who study who study at Kyoto Mesa Japanese Language School. So first, to improve Japanese skills to enter university in Japan. So this is the most common case for students. Many of our students just graduated from high school back in their home country, and they enter Kyoto Mesa Japanese Language School to study Japanese in order to enter university. And the second one, to learn Japanese to find work in Japan after having graduated from university in their home country. So this is what I explained in this slide. So if you already have a degree back in your country and plan to work in Japan, so first, it's a good idea to study at Japanese language school. So there is another merit to study at Japanese language school. So while studying, you can go job interviews. So it's not easy to find companies and contact them and have interview from your country, but it becomes much easier to do so if you study at language school. And our school also provides students with assistance to find jobs. Okay, so the third one, to learn Japanese to find work in Japan after having graduated from university in Japan. So many of you, I think many of you are now considering to enter university in Japan and study in English as medium of instruction. And here, in this case, by the time of graduation, you may face an issue, which is you have to be proficient in Japanese in order to work in Japan. So of course, there are companies in which you can work using English, like international companies. But I would say that if you were able to speak Japanese, your possibility will really be bigger. So you will have much more opportunity if you can speak Japanese. So some of our students graduated from university using English as medium of instruction. And after that, they come to our school to learn Japanese. And we can help you. So we can help them improve their Japanese to work in Japan. So, okay. And the last one, to learn Japanese while doing bachelor, master, doctor at the university in English as medium of instruction. So even though you can learn in English, you had better be able to speak Japanese because you live in Japan. So in this case, our school can offer you a good program to help you. So let me share an example. So a couple of years ago, we had a student from Iran. He was studying at Kyoto University. He was doing doctor at Kyoto University, but he felt that he should learn some Japanese in order to communicate with professor, students, and also in order to live in Japan with less stress. So he came to our school. And while doing doctor at the university, he came to our school and studied Japanese when he had time. So by doing so, he not only earned doctor, but also improved his Japanese skills. And after that, he got a job at Tokyo. So he's now working there. So please consider studying Japanese at Japanese language school. So there are many ways you can improve, and we will consult with you to solve your issues. Okay, so this is another feature of our school. So we not only offer Japanese learning, but also we offer the experience of culture and art. So this is for students who want to deeply study Japanese history, culture, art, and martial arts. So here you can experience many Japanese traditions and experience the taste of Japan, especially because we are located in Kyoto. So on the picture here, students try kimono, Japanese traditional clothing, or even students can try instrumental, like Japanese traditional board game, cooking. And we also have many school activities and events. So this is education fair. Universities send representatives to our school, and you can directly ask them questions. This is speech contest, barbecue party, and this is seminar about finding a job in Japan. Yeah, so our school helps students find a job. And also we help students how to apply for getting working visa. This is coming wage ceremony for students who become 20 years old, which is considered a member of society in Japan. And mochi pounding and Gion Festival. Gion Festival is one of the most famous festivals in Japan. So this is another advantage of studying in Kyoto. And we also offer scholarships. One is from Japanese government, the Monbu Kagakusho Honor Scholarship, and the rest is from our school. And students with student visa can work part-time job up to 20 hours a week. Our school also helps students find a part-time job. So finally, I'd like to explain that we also offer online lessons. This is for students who want to study Japanese from a home country, or for residents of Japan who want to improve while working or studying at university. So this is basically private lessons. So it's possible to meet your requirement. We are very flexible. Okay. All right, so I would like to finish my presentation. Thank you very much for listening.
Thank you so much. So there are some of the questions which have been already answered, but there are a few which you would like to answer live. So there is a question, can I join in the month of April? and take the course for 1 year, 3 months?
Sure. Yeah, it's possible. So if you join in April, you can study up to 2 years, but not you don't have to study for 2 years. So in Japan, you can enter university in October in some universities. So in that case, you don't have to study 2 years. You can just study 1 year and 6 months, and after that, you can enter university.
Okay, thank you so much. So there is another question. Does Kyoto Mesa Japanese School provide assistance with visa?
Sure. Yes, we do assist about to getting student visa. So, I think I should explain about how to get student visa in Japan. So in Japan, first you apply to a Japanese language school or a university, and we will then submit your application to the Japanese Immigration Bureau. And after that, they check documents, and if you successfully apply, you get a certificate of eligibility or COE. And after that, we will send it to you, and you get it, you bring it to embassy and have meeting, interview. After that, you get visa. So in this process, we first receive application from you, and we check if your application if there is mistake or some issues in your application, and we communicate with you so that you can successfully apply a visa. So that's how we help you get visa.
Okay, thank you so much. So there's another question. Do you have an English website?
Sure. Can I share my website to explain about it?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. So first, this is in Japanese, and on top right here, you can switch language to English, or you can directly type the URL. So after our website, you can just type English, and you can see English page.
Okay, thank you so much for the demonstration. I think it is more clear to the audience. And there was another question that is there any sort of like discount or scholarship, any merit-based scholarship, anything if someone applies to the language school?
Okay, so unfortunately, we do not provide scholarships to students before they enroll in Kyoto Mesa. So as I explained, we do offer scholarships, but all of them are granted after admission. So students who excel at tests and who are good at in behavior, like attending class every day. So these students get scholarships, but unfortunately, we do not provide scholarship like the one universities provide.
Okay, thank you so much. So there's another question. Is it possible to do masters or any sort of master courses while doing this course?
Yeah, so it's possible. So in this case, I think my understanding is that your main purpose is doing master. So you get a student visa for a master's program, and in that case, you can come to our school when you have time to study Japanese. It's possible.
Okay, Thank you so much. So there was another question about the proficiency. Like, is N2 JLPT N2 level enough to get a job in Japan?
Okay. Well, so the ultimate answer is that it depends on company. But I would say N2, if you have N2, you have plenty of chances to get a job. So let me show some past cases. Some students got jobs, but they only had N3 JLPT, but still they got jobs. And we have had many students who got jobs with JLPT N2, and of course, who got good jobs with JLPT N1. So my answer is that if you have N2, you have great chance. It's enough to find a job in Japan.
Thank you so much. So one user is asking, like, how can I register for an online course? I could not find it in the website. Online course.
Okay. Right. So in that case, let me share the website once again. So here you can see the contact button on top right, and please click here. And you can inquire from this page. So just tell us you want to do online lessons. We will contact you as soon as possible.
Yes, so most of the questions have been answered and the website has also been given. So if you have further inquiries, you can get in touch with them directly. They can cater to your questions. Yes, so thank you so much.
Thank you.
And thank you. So that will be all for our session 35. Thank you so much for attending this webinar and staying till the end. And this is the QR code. You can scan it and register for our upcoming webinars as well. So once again, thank you everyone, to the audience and the panelists as well. Thank you everyone and have a good night.